Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Raft series. Today we've got, I'm going to say a bit of a compilation. I was getting a little bit frustrated with how slow my progress has been in terms of, expanding the raft, getting some essential upgrades underway, all that other good stuff. Basically I had across 2 game sessions about 4 hours worth of footage. I've clipped all of that down to a roughly 30-minute episode. So, firstly, you're welcome. Secondly, this is going to be, for want of a better term, a bit of a montage in terms of a few key events and some key upgrades that occurred over the course of those 4 hours. So get yourself strapped in, put your favourite swim fins on, get comfy, grab some snacks. We are going to squeeze in about 4 hours worth of raft development into 30 minutes. Now, part of the reason why it took so long is, in retrospect, possibly some more gathering nets would not have gone astray. However, I was still pretty keen to work with a compact raft. The downside of that is the amount of gathering width that you've got to passively gather, debris is not quite as good as if we'd been maybe another half a dozen nets wider, but it's all good. We do get quite a lot done in that 4-hour period. Now we're smelting away. You can see we've already made some improvements. We've got a bit of a roof going on. We've gradually filled in the floor of the raft so that we don't have any more hole. And then we expand the roof so it covers most of the raft. As you can see here, we have a little seagull because we put a nest down. The nest is how you get feathers. It's also how, if you time it better than I did, you can actually stab the seagull, kill the seagull, and get a couple of drumsticks, which becomes important for cooking recipes a bit later on. As you can see, on the drift, which is where most of my resource gathering, at least, wood, palm leaves, and rope, that's where most of it happened. I was drifting for a long time. I mean, some of these cuts are more than a day worth of raft time. So you really, when I say you didn't really miss anything, honestly, you didn't miss anything. It was a bunch of me looking in chests, emptying nets, and throwing down a bit of decking here and there. So we did move our sail up to the top level. We're now putting down a second sail so that, as I mentioned in a previous episode, the bigger the raft gets, the more propulsion effect that you need to get the same speed going. So at this stage, 2 sails is enough to get it moving at a fair old rate. We're persisting with our sailing. We're not drifting because we don't have the steering wheel yet, and you need the steering wheel to properly align yourself with your drift direction so that you get maximum net collection. So, anyway. All of these other things will eventually happen. Some of them don't happen until you start engaging more with the storyline. And that's the bit that's kind of frustrated me the most, is I wanted to get a reasonably mature raft and certainly resolve a lot of our supply issues before I started pushing into the storyline. Because some of the storyline gets very, very painful if you don't at least have a decent food supply, because you can be off your raft for a while, particularly if things aren't necessarily going according to plan. So Yeah, it's not a big spoiler. It's more just an FYI. So we've got a couple of medium garden beds. We've got our small garden bed. We mounted the small garden bed just on the wall there, so it wasn't taking up floor space. You can do that. You can even suspend them from the ceiling. It just does it automatically like it does with the chests. It's just a fantastic system. As you can see, we've got some more cooking stations going on. And there we go. We successfully demonstrate how to kill a seagull. Seagull. Ocean's version of a chicken, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so we've got a cooking pot, which is what that is there, and the thing to the right of it is a basically a smoothie bar. You can use it to make various smoothies. Now, unlike other games, the recipes are not something attached to you. Like, they're not part of a skill tree or anything like that. The recipes don't unlock so much as you don't really know what the true ingredients are until you get a little, like, poster which you can stick to the wall to show you, hey, this is what this recipe is called, and these are the 4 ingredients kind of thing that you need to make said item. So we do make one of the smoothies here in a little while. I did include the footage for that. It's kind of hilarious. I mean, I'd love to have something that made smoothies the way this machine does. It's basically an outboard motor propeller that you lower into a barrel, and that's what makes your smoothie. I mean, if that doesn't scream, you know, Tim Allen, what was that hardware show back in? Anyway, I'm clearly old. Or one of the, you know, Top Gear V8, you know, mix master things. I don't know what is, but anyway, returning to the action, we are actually at the point now. So from the recipe, we find there are 3 coconuts required and 1 beetroot. Hey, I'm not saying I'd want to actually eat one of these smoothies, but anyway, you put one of, you arrange the ingredients, you know, 1 per slot, and you put it down in the one of the 4 available positions. This one, I don't like using it as much because it uses a battery. And it does take a little while. Like, it's not super fast making these smoothies. It takes a good couple of minutes. But the end result is you get a smoothie and it gives you, like, wicked good stats. I haven't actually eaten this smoothie yet, but when I do, I'll actually show you what a huge difference it makes to your, you know, your thirst and your food stats. And that's the big benefit of these cooked foods. I mean, I can cook meat, I can cook fish, and you can see you do get a reasonably good amount of, you know, satiety, I guess you could say, out of those items, and it does last you a while. But these cooked ones, these proper cooking recipes, they actually add to the end of that bar. So they make the bar itself even longer. And as a result, the time you need to spend eating all the time, you get so much more value out of the meals and the drinks because it's just forever before you have to drink another one. So anyway, this is our little not berry. It's a coconut beet thing. And, that was the other ingredient you need. When you're cooking or making these smoothies, you've got to have a container. So it's the glass jug in the case of the smoothie machine. In the case of the cooking pot, you need the ceramic bowls. But because I don't have any of the cooking recipes for the cooking pot yet, we'll save that exercise for another episode in the future. Now, I did anchor at this island because I realized I didn't have any of the food recipes yet, and I think you do get them from the chests on the island. Now, don't quote me on that, because I've never really paid that much attention to exactly where they drop. But I've only got 2 recipes in total, and both of them are for the smoothie station. So I wanted to, you know, clear this island, but this was getting towards the end of a session, and I'll let the crickets roll in. I'll let you watch a few tumbleweeds go past. I think you know where I'm going with this, but, you know, as promised in my Valheim series, if there is some stupid to be had, I'm going to include it in my videos. So, with no further ado, here I am. I've got a bow, I've got a bucket load of arrows, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to teach this bird a lesson. Problem is, I haven't used one of these bows for a donkey's age, so I'm not quite sure where the aim is. Problem is, I mean, that would have been a great plan, except we have a boar, and we were away from the water a bit, which meant the boar has already ripped half of our health off, and we're still in range of a bird that can drop rocks on our head. Yeah, I pretty much knew I was done the minute I heard the bird screech at me. I just didn't have the health to take another hit, so anyway, we've respawned back on the raft. You can see we lost a lot, but anyway, we moved on from that. We ended up getting the rest of the boar, and then we just set sail. I took that as a sign that I didn't really want to be messing with that particular island, and we move on to a small one where there isn't any birds. There is, however, sharks. Now, we've got a nice fresh pair of flippers here, and we've got enough left on this metal spear. And I'm going to show you how to take down a shark. Now, you can do it with a bow and arrow underwater. As odd as that may sound, it does actually work. I find that doing it with the spear is better. And you can't do it without flippers because you need that bit of extra movement speed underwater, because what you've got to do is literally right at the last minute, as you kind of are about to thrust your spear forward, you've got to sort of swim forward and to the side as you stab the shark in the mouth. Now, because you're stabbing the shark in the mouth, I think that's a vulnerable spot, because that was a reasonably pristine shark and we took him down with not a lot of stabs at all. So, yeah, anyway, that's the trick for the shark. As you saw, he only had sort of one or two, actually he only got the one hit on me and we managed to kill him. Long story short, we end up loot whoring the island, and we've now moved on, and there's a raft here. Now, something I missed on a previous raft was that there's more to the raft than just those 2 levels. As the raft started sinking, I looked and I saw, oh, hello, there's a chest on top of that raft. I better go and get it. So that's what I did. I ended up diving into the water. I grabbed it. As you can see, a bunch of good stuff in it. So if you're seeing those little rafts like the couple that I've seen already, where all there is just a cooking little small grill on the bottom level, go all the way up the top and there should be a chest up there, like an old esky type chest. And that's where all the loot is for those little drifty rafts. Kind of annoyed I didn't notice that earlier, but anyway, life lessons and all that. So we looted the little raft. We're back on the sail again. We're just drifting, picking up more stuff. You might think, oh, the raft is, looks kind of complete, doesn't it? You'd think. But no. We've barely started. There is a lot more, like in terms of cooking and to a smaller extent storage, we're off to, a good start, if not mostly done. Farming, nah, we've got a lot to do with farming. We need even more farm plots, and we need somewhere to put some animals. And the somewhere to put some animals is the main reason why we've got an upper deck. But also on the upper deck, there is a larger style of planter. Now, I haven't made one yet. When I do, I'll show you what it looks like. But there's a larger style of planter that you plant trees in. And yeah, they are absolutely fantastic to have. You always put them up on the upper deck where they can get rain because the seagulls, because they're trees, the seagulls don't mess with them. The seagulls only mess with the smaller stuff, so like the melons and the potatoes and the beets and things like that. And that's the reason why I have them downstairs, because if you're growing them underneath a roof, then the seagulls can't see them and they leave them alone. So that's the main reason for that. Anyway, we're back on the drift. We're collecting more stuff. And we're working on getting us some more upgrades. Upgrade. Alright, we are now going to work on our animal, animal thing. I'll let you work out exactly what kind of animal thing that this thing is that we're going to have animals in. We're upstairs here. I'm just making sure it's clear of everything. I don't imagine, because it's just a single player run, I don't imagine I'm going to need very much. When I've played previously, my last run through was with Itchy, and we ended up needing probably a little bit more sort of animal area than what I'm going to do here. That said, though, it wasn't much more. You've just got to work it a little bit more actively, because the animals do produce quite often. You've just got to make sure that you're kind of Johnny on the spot and you're there to, gather whatever the resource is as soon as it is available. So the primary aspect of the animals is they eat grass. Now, that's good news because it means you don't need to, prepare other food for them. And the grass, if you've got it in an open area like this, where it can get rain, some of the time, you don't even have to worry about watering it. It will just keep growing and growing and growing, and you don't have to worry about finding seeds for it. You don't have to do anything technical or difficult as far as, having grass for your animals. That said, though, it doesn't always rain, but we'll deal with that eventuality at a later date. For the moment, we're just working on getting something that's functional so that next time we are in a position, actually, we've got one more piece of tech that we need to get before we can actually make use of this. We've got to get a net gun, which I did make at some point. I'm not sure if I've made it yet or it's later in the episode, but there's a net launching gun that you need for gathering the animals with. That isn't the problem. It's only very basic mats to make the gun. The problem is the launching nets require something else, and it boils down to explosive powder, and that's something that in all my previous playthroughs, it was something that Itchy ended up doing. So I think I remember that it's got something to do with the pufferfish. So it wasn't part of this play session that I end up doing anything with it. I'll try and get that resolved in the next play session. I think we've got to get some sort of goop from a pufferfish, like we've got to try and kill it before it explodes, and then we fire the goop and it creates explosive powder. I think that's what it is. I mean, as I say, I don't like looking this stuff up in wikis, and most of the time it is something that I've done before, but the explosive powder, honestly, I don't think I've ever had to deal with that one. But anyway, we'll learn together. It's all good. So we did pull up at another little island here. We're gathering the fruit. We are chopping down the trees. We're definitely getting close to having the large planter down. So I don't know if this has changed. I'm pretty sure there wasn't any significant alterations in any of the updates since my last playthrough with Raft that altered the ratio of tree seeds. In essence, when you're running your planters, it's not like when you're planting beets or planting potatoes where you always get more out than you put in. In the case of growing the trees, you're always losing ground. And I think it's a bit the same way with the pineapples and the watermelons as well, now I think about it. I think they all have a less than 100% kind of drop rate for their seeds, which means you're always going to, whenever you need them, you're always going to be coming back to these islands to get more in the future. Because of the diminishing returns nature of gathering seeds from your own crops. But anyway, that's a side note. We'll go into more detail into that side of it as I get my farms definitely going a lot bigger than they are at the moment in a future episode. Now, I don't remember why I've elected to do the shark this way. I think it might have had something to do with the fact that I don't have enough left on my flippers. So I've decided to go with a plan B here for getting rid of the shark, which is you make a shark bait. It's just a little bit of rope and a couple of very easily caught fish. And I've dropped it right next to where the raft is here. And so the shark keeps coming back regularly. And then I stab him and then he takes off again. And of course, I'm basically getting free hits on the shark each time he comes in and has a go at the shark bait, on the added bonus that the shark bait isn't really taking any damage. So essentially, we're going to end up killing the shark here in a moment. I'm trying to get it done with these wooden spears just to try and use them up, which is why it's taking a while to kill him. But we do get it done, and then we're going to go ahead and loot this island once the shark's out of the way. I do love these little islands. Some of the ones like this one just have an insane amount of stuff around them because it's a lot more dense than the big islands. So the big islands, it tends to be more about the stuff that's actually on the island, and the reefs, the items on the reefs are a bit more spread out, and proportionally there seems to be not that many more of them across the entire larger island versus what I get from these small ones. But then, from memory, I think there is a couple of the small ones that don't have much of anything on them. But this one here with the gap in between was absolutely fantastic. So if you're ever playing Raft and you see one of these islands, make sure you stop off and loot the reefs. I did really well out of this one. I got close to a stack of the blue metal out of this one, which was awesome. So, Sharky Boy's just about dead. I think we got one more stab to go at him here. And there he is. We've now killed Sharky Boy. We're going to loot everything but his head to delay the despawn and therefore the respawn of the new shark. We're going to empty our bits and pieces. We're going to loot the island and then we're going to resume our efforts to, basically improve our raft. Alright, well, we've cast off that little island. We are back under sail. Gather, gather, gather. Smelt, smelt, smelt. Grow, grow, grow. That's the somewhat repetitive task that I've been undertaking pretty much 100% of the time that I've been cutting out. So, yeah. Anyway, as you can see, we've got a few more chests on the go. We've got tons of stone. We have hardly any wood. That's pretty normal. When you're building a raft, wood is just hardcore. You need tons of it. I mean, every aspect of this raft, from the, floorboards to the walls, I've been using the cheapest possible build option as far as wood usage goes. There are options that look nicer, but they take a lot more wood. If you're keen to do that sort of thing, look, have at it. But honestly, the early part of Raft isn't what I'm playing Raft for. I want to get up to the storyline, and I want to get there sort of as soon as I can. Yes, I do, as I have done in every other playthrough that I do in survival style games, I do tend to like to be a little bit over prepared. But that said, I wasn't going to waste a lot of time making a pretty raft. I just wanted maximum functionality, and that is enough. Alright, now we've reached the end of the episode. I want to thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you aren't already subscribed. In the meantime, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Make sure you have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.